Welcome, everybody, to the Modern Father podcast. I'm your host, Marcus. With me, as always, is Chi-Town's finest, the man in Denver, the El Presidente, Benji. How you doing today, man?
What's good, y'all? How you doing today, man? I had a long ass day. How are you?
Good. Yeah, it's back to school time out there. How was your first day back, being in the thick of things?
Today wasn't too bad. Just adults, so it was teachers, SSPs, RJs, admin, so ourselves. Just kind of regrounding ourselves, getting ready for the kids to show up tomorrow. First semester was tricky, so being able to just kind of reset, make some tweaks to systems that we have in place, kind of filling the gaps that we saw from the first semester, and getting folks on board to start doing the work again. Because we got second semester is longer than first semester, so
Yes.
folks who struggle in first semester, that second semester is way longer. Every month in the first semester, there's a day off or there's a holiday or something. The last 2 months of the school year is actually the longest 2 months. There's one day off in those final 2 months compared to like all the other months.
Right, that's the hardest
Blows
stretch.
my
After spring
mind.
break is brutal, and that's when like all your numbers start going up when it comes to behavior. I
Yeah, I
usually
mean, people are just tapped out, and testing is
right,
over, and kids are like looking forward to the spring, and then adults are tired, and everyone just wants to get out at that point. But once that testing is over, everyone's tapped out. Like everyone sees, like, oh, we're done. I've already completed my state assessments. I'm just gonna kind of ride the wave into the very end.
that's when a lot of movies get played by teachers. Like just you
Nah,
walk
not in
in the
my
teacher.
school. Not in my, not with me on the watch, bro. I'm a hawk.
Reg-
We're not doing
regulate.
that. We're
Did
not
you
doing that.
did you run any PDs today?
We did, but it wasn't long. So we had like district PDs in the morning. Teachers
Right.
had that, and then the afternoon we had like an hour, 2 hours. We had to do access training, and then we just went through the updates of the behavioral systems that we have in place, some adjustments that we wanted to make.
There you go.
So
Yeah, man.
nothing too heavy.
All right. Well, hopefully those like behavioral systems, like they work out and like everything goes well this second semester because this is gonna be it's a slog, man. It's slog getting into the spring break. But like you got MLK Day coming up. You have that off, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually the baby's due date.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, it's funny because
Yeah.
I got a little cousin. She was born on Martin Luther King Day, and I call her
Right.
Martha Luther Queen. And my cousin gets mad every time I call her that. So if my daughter is born on MLK Day, I'm gonna hear it all
Right. You have a little black baby. I'm a dream baby. I like that.
day.
Yeah, I got it. I'm a dream. Yeah. So same day, MLK, my son, little wide eyes, he's getting his helmet. He had that. Did I even talk to you about this?
No, so I know he was getting a helmet, but explain to me why he needs a helmet.
Okay, so right now he has like his head is not shaped like a normal head. Like everybody's head has like a little circular part right before it gets like to the back of your neck, kind of spine
Yeah,
area. Well, his is like flat, and on a scale up to like there is like really bad, there's like moderate, mild, and then good. He's moderate. So
okay.
what's gonna happen is he's gonna get fitted for a helmet, and we already did like the little X-ray stuff. I don't know if you've seen Julie's little picture of him of like a little cartoon head.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what that was. That little
it's just
floating head
floating.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was hilarious. He's just like he's
yeah.
just
He's
a
like, what
cartoon
the
head.
hell?
Pretty funny. And so what they do is they just fit that helmet on him, and he has to wear it for 23 hours a day.
Oh
And
shit.
yeah, and it's only for 3 months. And if he has a growth spurt during that time, then he doesn't have to wear it for the full 3 months. But the most important part is like he has this like shoulder tightness in his left shoulder, and what that caused is for him to sleep on one side, and he won't turn his head all the way. So we
Mm,
got physical therapy coming up. I think that's later next week, and then Martin Luther King Day we have the full on fitting and getting the helmet. So I'm gonna put stickers on it and everything, G'd up for him, get him going. And then we see the doctor every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks they shave a piece off of it because it just prevents one side of his head from growing, and then the other side grows out. So because his right side of his head is just like super flat. You'll notice it too, especially from like the top down position. You can see it, and like his chin to his ear is shorter on this side than his left side. So his chin is moving all this way, and then also like what it said was, if we don't get this done, he's gonna have earaches, ear infections, all kinds of stuff could lead to that, and then also like physically, it could all hamper, especially with this using his left hand. And we want lefties. We're all lefties around here.
Yeah.
All about that lefty life.
How did that develop? Was that like? Did they tell you like what is like the common causes of your child need that type of support?
They have a specific name for it. I forgot what it's called. It's like Theophilus or something. My long-term partner, I don't call her by name anymore. My long-term partner, she knows what it's called. But basically, what it was like it's tightness in the shoulder that led him to have a right hand dominated side. So when he slept, instead of turning his head to the left or to the right, he just always go to the right. And when he leaned to the right, and when he slept to the right all the time, because they say that babies aren't allowed to sleep on their stomachs like the first few months. You don't put them on their stomachs, you put them on their backs. So when he's sleeping on his back, he just would always lean to that right side, which just, if you're constantly doing that over and over and over again, and then not looking over to the left-hand side as much, it just led to him.
It's just moldy because it's still soft, right? So
exactly. So that head's like a sponge. So that's why, and this is important for this time for him to get that helmet, because like right now his head is still spongy, it's still growing. So we can get him out of that. And then also too, that physical therapy is going to help him out with that left shoulder tightness too. So then he can start moving back to both sides, because he normally rolls to his right too. He doesn't roll too much to his left, and I try to practice all the time flipping him over to his left side. He's just right dominant right now. So hopefully that physical therapy is going to help.
Yeah. Is there anything that could have helped to prevent that, or like even if you like physically like helped move him to the left, or is it just because he's, I don't know, maybe wired to just always move to the right for his comfort? So
I think
nothing to do but to correct it.
If we would have got that shoulder tightness like squared away, like, because we're doing stretches with him right now, but the physical therapy is going to help out a lot, because they're going to teach us like a lot more stretches. Because right now it's like, let's say for instance, I got my phone right here, right, and like say this is him, and his head rests right here on his and he's facing towards you, so his head rests right here, and then we just move the shoulder up, so then his neck wrenches over, and he's just stretching this part of his muscles right here, because that muscle, as you know, you probably got like a crook in your neck or some type of pinched nerve. It comes from all the way from behind your ear. Yeah, absolutely. That hurts. Comes from behind your ear all the way down to his shoulder. So all that right there is just tight, and you can feel it too. It's like I try to like rub it out on him too. We'll sit there and watch football, and I'm just sitting there just trying to like just massage it out a little bit after we do that stretches, because it is so tight right there. So if we loosen that up, we're going to get him more used to and adapt to and feel more comfortable rolling to the left and be more capable with his left.
Did they give you any idea of like how he even developed like a stiff shoulder? That's crazy.
I think it was just kind of like maybe how he was sitting in the womb, maybe like with Julie, because I know like we were talking about this a little earlier, how like when Kyra was born, there was no fluids in the sac. So like maybe like he wasn't moving a lot in there because of the lack of fluids. There's like a lot of hypotheses that go on with that. I would say when you have your daughter, I would like promote, and I'll teach you these stretches and everything, and just have her just stretch out on both sides, and just make sure like the shoulder tightness is not there on her too. But I mean, it seems
And
like everything's
we're
going like
doing
perfectly
pull-ups
fine.
out the womb. We're not stretching. No, dude, I'm just blind. I'm kind of mind blown. As a person that's had a lot of terrible shoulder
Hmm.
incidents and surgeries, and I even had like the electric shock therapy on my neck. So like, I know exactly what you're talking about, like
Hmm.
how you feel it here, like on the crown of your head, all the way down. Because I would say like, I don't know, it was like 3, 4 years ago. I was at a point where I couldn't look to the left or right.
Right.
I could only look to the left. I could not turn to the right
Right.
at all, dude. And I felt the whole thing. And I went to a PT session, and then they're like, "Well, you want something like electrotherapy?" I was like, "They're like, we'll give you instant relief." So I tried it out, and they like just shock your dome. Like they take me up, and they just put like a little bit of shock, and what it did was release the tension that I was
Uh-huh.
holding here, and basically teaches you it like reprograms the nerves, the muscles to tell
Right.
them that like it's okay to relax. Like this is what relaxed state feels like again, and
Huh.
it just releases. Yeah, and it just because what happens is you just like maybe he's experiencing the same thing where he's just clenched. All his muscles up here are so tense that it's just like a knot.
Right.
Right. So when you shock it, it like shocks it and opens it, and then it remains open because it remembers how to be open.
Right.
And then over the next like 2 3 days, you're releasing all those like toxins, and everything is getting released from that tension that was built up. And then like after like 2 or 3 days, like I felt instantly a little bit better, and then over the course of like 3 days, I was able to move in full range of motion again.
Hmm.
It was pretty cool.
Were,
But
were you doing any stretches also to like coincide with that?
yeah, nothing crazy. Just kind of like looking all over here and holding it for a couple seconds, making sure like my chin is down and my head is straight. I like doing this, so like he
Hmm.
can't do this yet, but
No.
like being able to like just hold your head, and let the gravity of your hand dictate how much force is being pulled on your neck. So don't like crank it, but like if you rest your hand and let your arm just kind of hang, and you can pull that down, and it will just you'll feel the stretch organically.
Hmm.
And then actually, was it last Friday? I went to a yoga class, and this old lady had me hanging upside down like a bat. Like I was using like those wall ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And she taught me how to hang upside down, and it felt amazing. Felt amazing. Like just hanging there upside down. So like using gravity to just pull everything, and like just being trusting that the shit is gonna hold you up. I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm about 235, so expecting like trusting this thing is gonna hold me up, and just like really letting loose. Dude, it felt so good. Like letting your neck just hang, and everything, your vertebrae just nice and aligned and straight. Felt so good. I was literally hanging there upside down for like 3 minutes.
Wow.
It was
Is
great.
this free with your membership as yoga class?
Yeah, but she was like a sub, like it's a little old lady and shit. And it was me and this other dude in there, and he was kind of like huffing and puffing. He had like a little shitty attitude about it. Like I guess he thought it was too easy, and I'm over there loving it, dude. I'm just hanging upside down. I was doing this like I'm Spider Man and shit. I might, I might need to film an episode like that, just upside down, to see how long I can last before I pass
No,
out.
that would be like dope. That'd be dope short. That'd be dope to actually like put in these videos. Just also, I was thinking about that too, like doing like a workout like session, like seeing like your workout session, seeing like my workout session, and just like putting it on like our videos, and editing them real well, and like put some music in the background to it. That would be dope.
Motherfuckers don't want to see me work out, man. I
Oh
do the
hell yeah,
same
they
shit.
do.
I do the same shit that other big dudes do in their gym. We doing the same thing now. When I start getting creative on how am I gonna work out, like with the baby, that might be something worth like checking out. Because I'm gonna take a page out of your book.
Hmm.
So tummy time is gonna be my tummy time. I
Yes.
gotta get my abs stronger. So when she's doing tummy time, I'm going to be doing tummy time, and I could plank and do little core workouts while she's trying to figure her life out and pick her head up or just squiggle around and all that. I got a cool little mat that we got as a gift, and it has like all these different things that you should be doing with her or with your child on like a week by week basis or month by month. I think it's either week by week or month by month. Came with a little book. It's pretty dope. So I'm definitely going to be utilizing that. I mean, obviously every single day. But that's going to be I'm going to be doing tummy time with her.
For yourself, Google calisthenics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like they'll teach you, like I've done so many different kind of variations of like especially core exercises through the calisthenics. There's this dude on YouTube. Shout out to Brawley Games, right? He's like a big black dude. He was like into anime, so that's why he named himself Brawley Games, like a Dragon Ball Z character. And like his first thing he does is he goes up in the subway. It's like his little intro, and he just like takes off his shirt and he's like just swolled out. He's like, just screaming. But like he sets the tone for like what your workouts are gonna do, and like he's just positive. He's all about eating right. He's all about making sure your core is right. The guy's amazing. He does this nice workout. It's like a push up, and you kick your leg out to the side, and you kick him out to your left side, your right side. Man, my stomach hurts.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
it's like the prison burpees.
Exactly what
right?
it is.
Like, yeah,
no,
like
it's exactly what it is. That's what this workout basically is. Like calisthenics is basically like a bunch of prison ass ninjas.
It's like prison gymnastics.
Yeah,
I mean that's all it is. Like they're just doing pull ups and they're doing like all that shit, but slow and in control.
Exactly.
It's hard, dude. Like that shit is difficult, man. Because I struggle doing pull ups. Like that's that shit is difficult. I mean, I got a lot of weight though, so like I gotta get trim the fat.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm fairly strong. Like I'm not the strongest dude around, but like I can bench my weight. I can squat my weight and then some, or like I can do more than my own weight. I can bench my weight. I can deadlift like double my weight, but I still don't feel like when I see dudes like that who can just like be this wide and just pull themselves and they're just looking at me, looking at them, and like they're not even sweating and they're just holding themselves up. But most of the time, them dudes are like 120 pounds of just muscle and water.
Right. This skin, muscle, and water. Body fat ratio is like 9.
My body
8.
fat is not even. Theirs is like 2%.
Right. Gymnast.
Yeah, I'm cool. I ain't got to do all that. I like tacos and Hennessy and beer, and I ain't trying to do all that. That's too
2023 goals are not the six pack.
No. I just need to be strong. You know what I mean? I don't want to be weak, and I want to have like you need your core, right? Like
yes.
you need it. So as long as I know there's something in there, and I can bend and I can be flexible. That's what I care more about.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility, agility. Like being able to bend easily.
Right.
Being able to lift up. Being able to stand up straight. Like those are the things I'm more concerned about.
Posture.
Posture is huge, and that's something I've been working on for a couple of years now. Through yoga, it changed my whole life. I keep telling people, everyone who sees me is like, "Oh, you look so different." Yoga, and then they laugh, and then they don't want to do it because they think they're too machismo for it. And I was like, "Yo, that's probably one of the hardest things you ever do is sit through a yoga class. It's very humbling. It looks easy, but I guarantee you, y'all, a lot of you cannot make it through a class without stopping and looking around, and then you see this little old lady next to you who's 80 years old, and she's planking for 12 minutes.
Right.
And you can't even stand up, right?
Yeah, man, that yoga's intense. People like try to clown it. I've noticed this too. Like, I remember like when I used to say like, hey, like I'm at the beach, I used to surf, and I used to have my skateboard, and then you're talking to one of your boys like, yo, man, that's just white. They ain't about that life. The same thing goes with yoga. People are always trying to write that off like it's some type of like it's bullshit. Like it's
or
like
they don't.
nothing.
Like straight up won't believe me. I'm like, dude, y'all live way more than me. I know people who live way more weight than me, but my chest is more. It looks how I want it to look. It looks more well rounded. Because what you do when you're doing yoga is you're utilizing those stabilizing muscles more than
Yes.
anything. And you don't really work your stabilizing muscles when you're doing a big lift because you're not holding it for that long.
Right.
That stabilizing muscle helps with the big lifts, and I need that. I mean, as a person that's had three shoulder surgeries, but I've done both sides, 2 times on this side, this once on this side. I need to be able to stabilize weight,
Right.
and like it has made such a huge difference. And after my last surgery, like back in 2017, I think that was the last one I had. I've been on the yoga. I've been, not like a hardcore yogi, but like I go at least once a month since 2017.
Right.
And on average, I'm going at least once a month. And I used to go more when in the beginning, and I've kind of tapered off from it. And I use it now intermittently when I have time, or I just feel like I want to do something else. I got tired of lifting, and I just need that full body workout. Dude, it is great.
It's intense.
It's intense. It's awesome. It feels good. You feel better.
Right.
Your body just feels so much better. And then, or if like the next day, if you do like a big compound lift, you feel so much more flexible and ready to actually go through that workout.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people do skip the stretching aspect of working out. I think it's one of the most
Absolutely.
important aspects of it, just to loosen up those muscles, like you said. It really helps out with, especially with your chest, because people they don't stretch out their chests, they don't stretch out their necks enough. Hips, most important, man.
Big.
Like lower body, hips, your quads, calves. A lot of Achilles get blown out because people aren't stretching their calves right, or not stretching that foot to calf portion of your legs. Stretching is very, very important. Oh, speaking of your surgery, do you have any limitations? Like when it comes to like certain things, like for me, incline, I can't go all the way down on an incline, and then also too, I can't go over 130 pounds on incline. It doesn't matter how strong I am. It doesn't matter how like for some reason incline, my shoulder just like feels like it's gonna just tear off. Is there any limitations that you have?
No, I don't have. I mean, I can't really go. I wouldn't go. I mean, most people probably wouldn't go back here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I struggle on shoulder press.
Mm-hmm.
So my shoulder press, I have not been able to get over 90-pound dumbbells,
Huh.
which is still a lot of weight. I mean,
It's still a lot of weight though. That's a lot of
90
weight.
pounds in each hand, right? So
Right.
you're looking at a 180-pound press. But I haven't been able to go over that yet. And I've been stuck. Like, I've maxed out on that for like probably like a year. I just have not been able to get over that hump of 90-pound dumbbells. That's the highest I've been able to get to. But other than that, I mean, it's taken time. I mean, think about it. My last surgery was 5 years.
Right.
And it's taken me forever to like bench my weight.
Mm-hmm.
But I also haven't been as consistent with working out, and since the end of towards the end of COVID is when I really started to hit it hard again.
Yeah, man. Well, you can definitely tell because you look like you got stronger, man. Like it looks like you like.
Yeah, I feel stronger. I mean, I
Right.
feel healthier. I feel healthier than I did in my 20s when I should have been at like my peak. Right?
Right.
I was just like shitting away time by drinking and going out and partying all the time, and eating like crap. Right? So like now I feel better. I feel healthier. I feel younger than I did when I was in my 20s.
Right. There was a song that I used to listen to, Modest Mouse, back in my early 20 somethings, and it was called "Good Times Are Killing Me." You know, and it's so true, man. The
It
good
is
times
true.
are killing me.
They're
You
killing
know,
me.
all day because I would have some good old times, man. And I knew those were
Yeah,
killing me 'cause
and they're
you feel like
killing you.
shit,
You feel
like
like shit,
crap.
and
Yeah.
you just get into that cycle of feeling like shit, and then re-engaging in what made you feel like shit to make you stop feeling like shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're back up here, and then the next day you're back down, and that's how addiction and bad habits form.
Exactly. Hey, my last workout question: dumbbells or barbell?
To me, it depends. because I do a full barbell workout.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a full body workout where I'll squat, I'll squat with the bar, then I will deadlift with the bar,
Mm-hmm.
then I will do bent over rolls with the bar,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll do a standing shoulder press with the bar. I do that every week, once a week. That's like my 1 day full body workout on the weekend when I don't have to wake up and go to work.
Yeah.
I wake up and do that. That's probably my favorite workout. So it's kind of like a 5x5. Have you heard of 5x5? I just don't bench press that day because I do a full chest day.
Right.
But it's kind of like a 5x5 workout. But I'm just doing those 4 workouts. I skip the chest on that one. I do a full chest day. Like today I benched. So I did incline. I did flat bench with the bar, incline with the bar, decline with the bar. Then I go to cables.
Mm-hmm.
Then I do a little dumbbell work, and then I finish off with dips until I can't do anymore.
Huh. That's a good closer as the dips.
Yeah, and then being intentional with the dips, so making sure like I'm over it. So I'm really targeting the pecs more than just the tricep.
Right. That's a really good closer. I love doing the dips until you can't go no more. That's the best one. When you got a good workout, we only do like 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, but I have to do mine a little different too because I'm still building on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I use the assisted machine.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So, but I start at like really easy, and if I get to when I get to 20, then I go higher, and I go higher, and I go higher. So by the time I'm done, I've probably completed 50, 60 dips. And like those last like 8 dips, I really had to work for real.
Right.
And like that's how I finish off my workout. And then I do the same thing with back. I just use the assisted, and I'll do pull-ups until I can't do them anymore.
Would you say your 2023 workout goal is to do unassisted dips, unassisted pull-up?
I can do like 4 or 5. It's just I can do one or I can do a few, but it's just what I'm trying to get out of it is I can't do that yet. But I would say my 2023 workout goal is I want my legs to be on point. That's like my biggest focus. So like when you're talking about earlier, like stretching out the hip and like really putting a lot more intention into my lower body is what I want, is what I'm really focusing on for 2023 because you need it. I mean, I have bad knees. Like I dislocated my knee when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then like no one believed me, and my mom was like, "Oh, you just got growing pains," and my knee's been fucked ever since. All right, and like when she did finally take me to the doctor, I didn't take care of it. I didn't do none of that. I was back outside 3 days later with nothing on my knee, just raw dogging life as a 9-year-old with a busted knee, and still trying to play ball and still running around and not taking care of it. So I still pay for that shit to this day. Like I can feel there's a big difference between my left and my right knee.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of impacted me. I had to relearn how to like squat. Like my position, my leg, it's like crooked. So I can't be like straight on forward like everyone else. I'm slightly out a little bit for comfort. But my
I also say too, like with your way your hips are structured, because some people, I think I'm one of them because I've noticed that like when I'm always like a knee out, then more of a knee straight, is because like the way my hips are, and especially like I grew up with scoliosis, so that probably had something to do with like where my like spine aligns or like why my left hip is a little bit higher than my right hip. So it is really hard for me to actually get the straight knees and actually go down and do like a full squat. Butt to the ground. If I'm going to get butt to the ground and get low like that, I'm going to have a wider stance and my knees just a little bit outwards. Because that's one of my 2023 goals also, is my legs. I've made strides on my legs for sure. Like I've done really, really well with my legs. I just want to get them more powerful, and I'm going to start using more machines because I'm using a lot more body weight. And then like I take little wide eyes and I'm always doing I do squats. And then I'll do lunges around the house, and I'll do them with him like.
You just carry them.
Yeah, I just carry him like this, and I switch shoulders. And he loves it too. He's sitting there smiling and laughing the whole time when we're doing it. He absolutely loves it. So yeah, just continue to work on my legs, and then plus like I was talking to you about this the other day. This 5 minutes, 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups. If I can hit that by 2023, oh man, I'm great. Swole, nice and thick, big.
You ain't
I
gonna
would
be
love to.
big. You'll be.
What's up?
I think you'll be cut. You ain't gonna get big
Hey,
though.
the goal. If I get to like 175, 180, I look pretty big. That's just like my frame because like I'm a skinny guy, but just like like, right now I'm already looking at it. Little something
Man,
something right now.
that ain't
You
shit.
know, little pop up book right now.
Man, don't like hell no. Hell
you
no.
know,
No,
you know.
you got
Well,
no, you slim
well,
bugging, man.
little something something. Get on Instagram. Actually, post like the first time in a while. Put a little thirst trap out there. But
No, man, I'm gonna beat that ass.
hell yeah, hell yeah. The long term will give
In
you.
the long term. Shit, man, this long term gonna be a short term, motherfucker.
I don't know if she likes to be called that. Like I try to ask her like, what do you want me to call you then? Like you like, oh, what fiance? We've been fiancés now for like 4 or 5 years. So, like, what do you want me
Hey
to
man,
call
I
you?
got the record, man. Don't worry about that. I got the record. I got the longest fiance record ever. We're good. Sometimes you just gotta let shit mature.
Right, right.
It is what it
Yep.
is.
We keep saying we're gonna plan it. We're gonna plan it. It's just like just it's cool the way it is right now. We're married without the
Yeah,
license. You know.
yeah. I
So
mean, planning
speaking,
weddings
what's
is
up?
tough. I said planning is tough.
Oh, so how was your planning of your wedding? Because by the way, if everybody who's watching, my man's wedding, Benji's wedding, was like a spectacular wedding. 3 bands. The church was like amazing. Dude, he came fitted up. His wife looked amazing. That was a party of all parties. People there were amazing. Drinks galore, like all you can drink. It was turned up. It was turned up. How was that planning that?
Um, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate planning the wedding. It was cool. It took a lot of kind of like you don't want to overdo it. So like
Hmm.
you really need to know what you're gonna spend on it. Like you have to be realistic with what you're going to spend, and then obviously you're gonna back plan from what you're gonna. And then you need to know like what is it that you care about. What is it that you really want to spend money on? What are some of the corners that you can cut? Like that is huge because you can run crazy. I know people who like think of just like plating.
Hmm.
Like plating alone can be very expensive. I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars on fucking plates that people eat off of.
Right.
Or you can do what we did. We're like, well, everyone's gonna just eat and throw the plate away. Let's just get nice throwaway, nice plastic, hard plastic plates that look nice in a picture. They're not all flimsy, and then you can just throw it away, and it's not a big deal. And they
Right.
probably spent like a couple hundred, like $100 on plates and shit, and it looked nice on pictures. You would never know it was just like some hard ass plastic with a nice gold trim on it. But like that, but I've been to other weddings where they got nice ass china, and I was like, yo, this shit was probably like 3 G's just for the plates.
And then you're only going to use it
You know,
once.
you're only gonna use it one. Like no one cares about the damn plates, man. I just want to eat, like eat and drink. So that was a big thing, right? So for us, like we like to party, right? Open bar was a big thing for us. I had to have. I'm not charging my people to drink at my wedding. Like I wanted an open bar that had to happen. Open bar can be expensive, right? So for us was like we need to find a place where we're able to stock our own bar, and we would like to bring in our own food because I had a food connect
Hmm.
because that can get expensive too. And it's like what type of food? Most of these halls and shit they give you American food. I don't want American food.
Right.
I wanted Mexican food. My wife's Mexican. I wanted Mexican food. Um, she wanted Mexican food, so we had to find a place that we were able to bring our own caterer in. the original place that we had was dope too. It was dope, but because of COVID, they had like a no dancing rule.
Mm-hmm.
So like that kind of sucked. And then the new place we got was doper. It was further out, but it was dope as hell and a little bit more expensive. But we got hooked up because they gave us the size of the grand party room for the price of the little party room.
That's amazing. Yeah,
So
that
that
place
was
was awesome.
it was dope, right? Like
Yeah, it was
nice.
super
It was,
dope.
and then think about that. So looking at like how the aesthetics were already placed, I didn't have to overdo the decorations. It came
Right.
really nice. We just added accents to it. Um, and then like, my homie Wes, shout out DJ Wes. He was
Uh-huh.
my DJ. Like he was just like, yo, this is your wedding gift. Shit, bet, take it. He's a dope ass DJ. He did that shit for me. He was MC'd it. He was, on point all day. What else did we have? We had, and then like people just contributing. That helps too. So like instead of gifts, they're like, oh, we'll pay for the band.
Mm-hmm.
So like we'll pay for the mariachi, or like my godparents were like, oh, we'll pay for the church. Um, so if you're willing to do the work, you can save yourself money. You just gotta make sure you have enough time, and you gotta just be planning, and you just gotta be on point. Right list. We had list. We had our to do list. I would say the hardest thing was like the guest list because of COVID. We had to narrow it down. I mean,
You had to narrow
I
that
told-
down. There were so many people.
Yeah,
There were
narrowed
so
it
many
down.
people.
I mean, our original list had like 350, 400 almost.
God damn.
You know what I mean? And then we narrowed it down to like 225.
Wow.
So like that was tough, But overall, we were very happy. It was like for like J Lo, the wedding planner.
Yeah.
I was very involved. You know what I mean? Like you always hear folks like always like the wife doing all the hell. Nah, this is our day, and I want certain things to be what I envisioned as well. Like I also wanted the big grand church.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so being able to get a grand church that I grew up in was dope. I wanted like the car service to be on point. Like I wanted to make sure like my wife got picked up in a raw ass limo, and my guys, we got picked up in a limo. Like like I had to do it big, bro. Like it's just we're only gonna do it once. You gotta do it right.
Nah, and you guys did it right, man. That was
And,
the part
and it fit our personality. Like if you're not a big party person, don't do it then. Like
Right.
don't go for that. Like do it what you gotta do what represents you. And we like to party, we like to do all this shit, we like to be grand. So we had to make it as grand as we can afford. But I've been to other weddings where people are like totally introverts. And it's way chill and it's calm and it's like or just a really bougie ass dinner. And like ceremony, real small ceremony, but a real dope ass dinner because like they're really into food and this is like a whole food experience, and like that was the highlight of it.
Right.
Like you just got to figure out what is it that like is representative of your relationship. Don't try to copy other shit you see on TV just because
Right.
you think you have to do that. That is whatever y'all think you need to do that represents your relationship. My wife and I, we party. We like to, drink and have big parties and have bands and have music, live music. It's been a big part of our relationship. So we wanted to share that with everyone else.
No, you guys did it right. That was fun. That was the event. I was talking about that for like weeks, months. Like it was.
My godfather be like, man, I still talk about your wedding. Or like when I see homies like that I haven't seen in a minute because I live here and everyone's back at the crib, they be like, bro, we still be talking about your wedding, man. Like this shit was wild.
It was wild. It was wild. It was fun, man. That was a blast. I just felt like back in the day, man. I just felt like it took me back to back when I was like, out there just partying and
in
stuff.
In my pocket, I had the schedule of where I wanted people to be, like at specific times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, yo, I'm not walking in this cocktail shit until about 6 o'clock because I want everyone to have their cocktail hour from 5 to 6 without us being there.
Right.
I wanted my band to start I wanted the salsa band to start as soon as I showed up, and then as soon as the party started turning up, that's when we had the banda come at like 8 o'clock, And like from 8 to 10, we had them, and we left for a minute, came back outside, and we walked in with them, and they're all like beating and shit.
That was dope. That was a dope entrance. Yeah.
And like low key, like then like we didn't really have an official first dance, right? Like we came in dancing, so that was technically our first dance. We had a closing dance.
I remember that.
The last song of the night. So it was like a real party. You know what I'm saying? You know how you back in the day you go to parties and shit, like, and it ends with a slow jam. So we played our slow song at the end of the day, and I actually called my wife off guard because she didn't know that was going to be the song, nor did she know it was going to be at night, at the last song of the day. She had no idea.
And that got her too.
Yeah. Keep it playing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, man, my long term was loving that, man. She was having a great old time, man. She was partying it up, you know.
It was a good time, man. It was dope. It was definitely the best event I've ever thrown. I've been to other cool weddings, but I'm always gonna say my wedding's the best.
Right.
And for whoever's wedding I've been to, if you heard this, you should be saying your wedding was the best. But my shit, we put a lot of work into it. We put a lot of effort, a lot of intention, made sure the details worked out, and just knew exactly what we wanted. We talked about it for a while. I mean, shit, we had 5 years, goddammit. You know, like, it took us a while, but we figured it out, and, you know, we made other moves in between. We just kept living life, and it was cool.
Right? So, speaking of other cool things, what do you have going on for 2023?
Shit, about to go from zaddy to daddy. That's number one. So like,
you know where the term zaddy came from?
I have no idea. But
okay, so I just learned this too. So zaddy is when, like, I guess, like, when they call it swirling. So like when a black woman is dating a white man, they say, oh, like, you know, you got zaddy. You know, and zaddy treats you well, and like zaddy's the one that like is like buying you a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh,
and
like a sugar daddy?
Yeah, it's basically a white sugar daddy to like a black woman, or it could be to like, or yeah, it's more like, oh, you're going to zaddy, or you can call like zaddy like daddy government, like, you know, like, so like if you're picking up government checks, you know, you go to zaddy.
Figured it was just like some player ass motherfucker. So that's all I don't know. I was just figuring. I was like, is this what the young motherfuckers are saying now? Instead of just daddy is zaddy. But, you know, just 2023 is just learning how to be a father.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of children. I know a lot about children. I don't know everything about being a father. So those are two different skill sets. And if you're an educator listening to this, the one thing that will piss me off is when you tell me you know about like student behavior management, and all you're pulling from is your experience as a parent. They're not the same. They're totally different.
Agreed.
Yeah, the biggest difference is you teach your kid values and your expectations, and you have a different level of relationship compared to I'm working with a stranger's kid and I don't know their values, and I need them to fit into the mode of what we're doing at this school. Those are two totally different things.
I agree.
So that's just my little sidetrack for it. But that's number one, is just learning how to be a dad. Learning how to be a dad, listening to other dads, listening to, you know, hollering at my other homies who've had kids and when they've hit the stages. But that's number one for sure now. Number one is being a dope ass father.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is going to be, I want to be a school principal for next school year. So August of 2023, that is my second goal, is to be a principal. Very close. We'll see how this next round of I feel like I'm a head coach.
Yeah.
Like looking for, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like I'm waiting for it's like, well, third of the league gets a new coach every year, and like now I feel like I'm fucking out here like Jim Harbaugh, like let me get in, like where we at? I'm out here. What's that dude's name? Sean Payton.
Sean
You know
Payton,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? I
He's
got
got
you.
his team all assembled. He's got his defensive coordinator already.
Yeah, like I'm like, yo, just get me in, and I'm gonna build. I gotta build my own team, but I like that's how I feel like right now. Like I'm getting a little bit more antsy. We're hitting that time of the year where people will start to announce if they're going to like resign from their school position and all that. So I'm getting excited about that. So number 2 would be become a principal, and then number 3 would just be like really giving this whole podcasting a shot.
Yeah.
That's number 3. So those would be my top. Like I really want this to like be a consistent thing. I want to see where we can go with it. I like actually just. I mean, we always enjoy talking to each other, but it's been really cool just to like sit here, have these conversations, and then we listen to it back, right? And then like listening back, like, wow, we talked about some cool shit. Or like, I've had a few people hit me up, like, yo, I watched your shit the other day, and it was actually pretty damn good. Like, that was pretty good. You just gotta like tell your homie Marcus to get a better camera. or like, or they be like say some like dumb, but it's shit they're saying, then that's cool because that's a part of the growing process. So it's not like, oh, y'all are boring as fuck. Like I'm not hearing that.
Right.
And that, as of right now, that's what I care about: is the content being relatable, being legit, being authentic. All this extra cute shit will get better over time as we invest more time into what we're doing. But like, most of the people are probably going to end up listening to this shit on Spotify anyway, so they not even going to see us. But until we get to that point, like, just having real conversation, real content to build a following, because I think this is going to be really cool. I think being able to talk about all these different topics is dope. Always connecting it back to children is dope. And just understanding, like, kids are different now. All that old shit it's for the birds, bro. That shit doesn't work anymore.
Nope.
A lot of that shit don't work. And I think I'm not sure if I said this before in an earlier episode where like I had a kid and he's getting into it with his teacher, and I was trying to explain to him like, you know, like, yo, your teacher, she's just old school, and you know, she sees things different. And he fucking looked at me like dead face and just looked at me and was like, well, mister, she need to get over that shit because it's 2022.
Right.
And I was like, damn. I was like, all right. I was like, and I get that though. Like, I totally understood it. Like, because that's how I feel too. Like, I was like, man, sometimes we gotta think of some new shit. All that old shit didn't always work.
Right.
And the fact that he just like looked at me stone cold and was just like, well, mister, she need to just cut that shit out because it's 2022 and the shit ain't the same no more. And he ain't lying. He's not lying. And I wasn't mad at him at all, but I was just like, wow. And that's how I feel about this podcast. That's how I feel.
Honest, man. The kids are so honest. Kids will say like kids don't really tell lies until they start like learning how to manipulate. But a lot of times, especially if they have good relationships with you, they're gonna be honest. They're gonna tell you the truth. They're gonna tell you straight. Say, hey man, mister, I just don't like this teacher, man. This teacher just does this and this and this to me. You know, and like a lot of times
tell their parents.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had kids tell me like, you know what? My mom tells you all the shit you want to hear, but she don't be on shit. And I was like, damn. Like, all right, I see, man. They're like, yeah, she's just playing the role and shit for y'all don't call them peoples on there, but she don't be caring about none of that shit you talking about.
Right.
Well, do you care? You're like, yeah, I listened to some of it. Well, that's good. That's a good place to start.
Yep.
But what are your 2000 shit, your Jordan year?
My Jordan year
resolutions.
Yeah. 23. Well, first started off. My main job is my son. So, you know, White Eyes, I'm just going to keep working on him and making sure. We got Crawling coming up real soon. I definitely believe by next month he's going to be around because he's already, like, moving forward. But it's at, like, a very slow, like, military-esque, like, grabbing and reaching. He doesn't really know how to operate, like, legs and arms and hands at the same time. So, like, once he figures that out, he's good to go. I think that's going to be next month. And also a little bit more of a core strength, and he's going to be fine. He's eating great right now. So we're gonna start getting him like some small little snacks, like roasting some carrots or boiling some carrots, and then like him just eating those little snacks and stuff. So little things like that. But he's my
You got
number
a
one
food
focus.
processor? You got a
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. You can. I'm the puree king right now, man. I could.
Alright.
Woo, man, your boy. Hey, cause like like I use myself as a test dummy. So I love like beets. I love all fruits and vegetables. Like you name it. Like I love it, and I'll mix and match different things. And like my long term is like, oh, this tastes kind of funny. And I was like, man, he's not gonna know the difference, But so like, you always introduce like vegetables first, and then work your way down to like fruits because fruits are super sweet. They have the natural sweetness to it, and
Especially when you blend it, right?
Uh-huh.
It releases all the sugar.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We fed him pomegranate, and he just like we put it in with some broccoli and carrots, and he absolutely loved it. But like it was like too sweet. The dude like pooped like 4 times that day. He was just taking
Too
crap
much
up the
fiber.
Yeah. It's like Terminator, man. He just opened up, just was flowing everywhere. But yeah, he's my main focus right now. Definitely him number one. Number two is this podcast. I'm actually enjoying and loving every moment of it, even editing the videos. And I know like one day, like if we like blow up and pop off, like we have like the extra income just to save time is to get an editor. But editing videos is low key fun. Like it takes a while, especially for like our long form. Like when we get to like an hour and 15 minutes, 40 minutes, 55 minutes, it gets kind of tough. At the same time, I enjoy it so much. And now I got all this Adobe Creative stuff, so like I'm like a kid in the candy store, like about to open my new gifts and open these new apps and just play with it and everything. It's fun. Add music to this podcast and just little graphics and stuff for the YouTube things. But yeah, you're right though. Like people on the Spotify, they're not gonna see that, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm gonna enjoy this. So if we do have like different forms of cuts, like if you ever want to film like an intro music video where you're hopping out your whip, and like you got like a cigar or something in your hand, I got the camera, I gotta fly out to Denver, put the camera on you, film like a video, little entrance video, dude, edit it all up. That would be dope.
They're not
But
ready for that.
just
Ready.
just certain things like that. Yeah, I can see you now, man. You would love that shit. You'd absolutely love it.
I'm coming out. I'm jumping out with the pea coat.
Right.
And the silky. I got the silk shirt on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm popping out.
Looking good, man. You're over here just like just that's something that I definitely want to get into. Third thing is my jobs, my other jobs. So like I work for a sports team out here in Vegas, and then also I work for a youth association, and just growing in those jobs to make sure that once he's in daycare, like I can funnel into something if we're not making money here. So, but the whole goal is to make money here because if we're doing this, it's less time doing that. You know what I mean? So then now, like if I'm in the sports thing, I'm still doing the sports thing, and I'm running the elite basketball league, which I'm doing right now. I don't have to focus all my time on that. I can just be like, hey, I can just focus my time here. So that's like the main goals. I have other smaller itty bitty goals. Well, not itty bitty goals. Actually, I'm enrolled back in school. Hopefully finish by summertime. Then enroll possibly for my master's and just get all this stuff just for the recognition. Because I'm watching you, my long term. You guys have master's degrees, and just how like the doors just open up for you just by having those. And like
You
it's
gotta have
been
the
way
right
too.
ones though. You gotta know what you're getting. Like, and my advice for anyone who go out to get a master's
Mhm.
is to make sure your master's comes with a job.
Yes.
So like, I have a master's in educational psychology and school psychology.
Mhm.
So with my school psychology master's, I have a certificate and I have a license, or I have a nationally certified license that says in this state I can work at a school as a school psychologist. And I can also work as a private psychologist or a private therapist in this state. That is where the money is at. Now, if I would have got some degree in like a master's of psychology, that just means I know a little bit more about general psychology. I don't have an emphasis. I don't have a license that says I can practice. And that was something that was like, mind, like, opened my mind.
Right.
Like, that was huge. Knowing, like, being told that, because when I went into undergrad, I didn't know shit about going into college. When I went into my grad school program, then I had a little bit more of an understanding, and even then I got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I got so lucky to happen to live in the state where one of the top psychologists in the U.S. school psychologists, was running a program. Because when you go to grad school, it's not necessarily about the school you go to. It's about the person who runs your department.
Huh.
That's what matters, because they tailor whatever you're going to learn based on their expertise.
Right.
So for me, I got a lot of training in like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of training in intervention and prevention for students. So academic and social emotional behavioral, and MTSS. Like, those are the top 3 big buckets.
Right.
But if I went to another school on the other side of a different part of Illinois, they were assessment based.
Huh.
They didn't learn everything I learned. That makes a big difference.
Right.
Or like when you do like consultation. So like I was trained in one specific consultation model, where other programs might introduce you to all of them, where we just went deep in the one that my consultation teacher was an expert in.
Right.
And he felt like it was the best, so he was there to just teach that one specific model, and he taught it to us over the range of 2 years. Just like when we did social emotional, I didn't learn about like DBT and CBT and all the other different models. All I learned was CBT for 3 years.
Uh-huh. So you specialize in that.
A specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I became a specialist in CBT, became a specialist in consultee centered consultation, and I learned. I became gained a specialty in MTSS,
Mm-hmm.
where like I've talked to other folks and they don't know half the shit I know. We got the same degree, but we have different skill sets.
Right. Yeah, I was hoping to get a master's in like CPA, in tax codes, and more of in the accounting financial side of it. Just because like you had all these questions the other day about like, oh man, like, you know, like, so like, what are we gonna do? Like, you know, are we gonna be taxes in, you know, Denver? Be taxes in Las Vegas? Since it's there, like, what's going on? So just having like being well versed in tax code, and plus you like to transfer over to anything and everything. Everybody's always looking for a good CPA, so everybody's always looking for a good tax guy. And then also I've already worked on budget sheets. I've already worked on financial statements, all that good stuff. It's just now just perfecting this craft, and then to where I'm reliable and to where I'm can be used in multi different facets. So I want to make sure, like, because you're right, man. You don't want to get something a garbage master's. Like,
Yeah,
just,
they motherfucker got like a master's in breathing. And they're like, I can't get a job. I'm like, dude, you got a fucking master's in breathing, bro.
CO2 masters.
You got a master's in breathing, or you got a master's in some other bullshit that doesn't add. It doesn't say that you can have this job because you have the master's.
Right.
And I wish like I knew that earlier.
Right.
I don't know if I would have changed my trajectory because my undergrad's in psychology, but when I went into psychology with the understanding that I would need at minimum a master's degree.
Did your counselor like talk to you about that? Like, did your enrollment counselor say like, hey, like, you know, this is something that you might want to look into? Did he steer you that direction?
No, I just honestly like I took intro to psych, and everyone. When I took it at my university, I went to Northern Illinois. At the time when I was there was like a 40% failure rate for intro to psychology.
Why is that?
I have no idea. It was challenging. I ain't gonna lie, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hard intro class, but I got a B.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pretty fucking good at this. And I tried, but I didn't try my hardest. And I was like, and I found it interesting, and I've always enjoyed working with children Um, the difference, so like my program at NIU didn't have like for undergrad, it wasn't like a specialty, but you could. It kind of had like an a la carte, right? So they had all these different classes, and
Yeah.
I just tailored all mine to child development. So I took anything that I felt like would impact children. So I
Huh.
took all the classes that I can take were all primarily like I took like psychopathology of children. I
Mm-hmm.
took addiction, drug and addiction. I took um, I took everything but cognitive. I was intimidated by it, and I never took it. I did take organizational in what was it industrial organizational psychology, which I do enjoy,
Yeah.
and it's basically like the business of psychology. So like understanding how like it's like psychology for the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoy it. Have you ever watched like the show Billions? It can't used to come on. I don't know if
Is
it's
that the
still
show
on.
on ABC?
No, it was like a Showtime or some
TNT?
shit like that. I think it was
Yeah.
Showtime.
Okay.
Where she was like the therapist for the hedge fund, and she would like do therapy sessions with the people who worked for the hedge fund to like motivate them to make more money, or like when they felt like they weren't performing. To like so basically what you're trying to do is help people reach their peak performance at work. I thoroughly enjoy reading about that
Right.
and trying that out, and that's really why I want to be a principal, because for IO psychology there's no license for it. You just need to know what you're talking about and how to do it. So as
Yeah.
a principal, my job is to make sure my team, my teachers, everyone in the building is performing at an effective rate, and we're all working together, and I'm motivating, and I'm making sure like, and I'm keeping like have low turnover, right?
Yes.
People want to be there. I want to practice IL psychology through the lens of a principal, because when I see that as a job of you're a business owner,
Right.
and people get a little like kind of put off when I say it like that. Where when I want to be a principal is because I want to indulge in like the business side of education, but I truly believe you have to run it like a business. You just got to remember, my kids are the consumers.
Yes.
That's that. What I don't understand what's so wrong. They have to buy what I'm selling. If they're buying what I'm selling, then everything's gonna work out.
I love how you said that. I think also 2023, because like the way you just said it's consumers, I want to be a producer this year. You know what I mean? Like I want to be a producer, and like as a principal, that's what you're doing. Like you are the producer of that community. You know, you're pumping out education to everybody. You're giving everybody the education. You are setting the tone for that community of what education is going to look like. So if your principal at your local school, especially out in Denver, if your principal sucks, you know, like you're going to see like it's just unravel. And like you're right, it's a turnstile. Teachers leave. There goes your mental health support is gone because they're all stressed and they can't handle anything because the culture is all out of whack. You know, even goes to your cafeteria staff, because what if they're getting cursed out during
Everybody.
lunchtime?
Yeah,
Everybody, your maintenance staff, it all trickles down. So everything, I don't know why people got put off by that. Like the way you said that kind of makes me upset, because I think a lot of things, even relationships, should almost be ran by businesses. If you're sharing a bank account, that's a business.
It's a
If
business.
you are if you have a budget, that's a business. You know, if you are hiring and firing and you're trying to bring in the right talent, that's a business. And if people are put off by that, it makes me wonder. It's like, okay, so then like, what does modern day education look like to you if you don't think that this is not run right, if it's not ran like a business? Because the old school models are nothing anymore. Money is key. Money is everything. Money is the gateway to, you know, higher test scores. Money is the gateway to better food in the cafeteria. Money is the gateway to better sports equipment, better sports teams, because you get bring in better coaches, better teachers. Money is crucial to success, and I don't get why a higher up in the district would be upset by you saying that running a school is a business. That kind of makes me upset.
No, I would say I hear that more from like teachers.
Huh?
I just don't think they see it the way I see it.
Right.
Whereas, like, yeah, it's a business, man, and like, and I'm not talking because then they're like, oh, you're a charter guy or you're this. And I'm like, no, my consumer are my children. If
Mm-hmm.
my children are buying the message, if my children are invested into what I am offering or what the school can offer, then we win.
Right.
I'm winning the business. I'm here to compete. I am competing against this school because, unfortunately, for things that I can't control, enrollment is everything. So if I know in my school, I got 600 kids, your school has like 800 kids. If we ever get to a point where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna start shutting schools down," they're gonna come for me first.
Yep.
So what I'm gonna do, I need to protect my staff, right? I need to be recruiting kids to come to my school, so I don't have to cut my staff.
Right.
So I don't have to like make stupid budget cuts that I don't want to make that it's going to impact the overall culture of the school. But you have to think like a business person. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that who are you doing it for?
Yes.
Are you a shady business person that's only looking out for yourself? Are you a moron and you don't know how to spend and you're throwing money everywhere? Are you a pushover and are you just adult pleasing all day?
Yep.
Right? Like if you're doing that model, then yeah, it's not going to work. But I'm children first, and I've always been.
You need a
Always.
fundraiser. You need like a
Yeah, I mean,
quality
but yeah,
fundraiser.
absolutely.
two of
And
them.
I've had experience in that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we worked at a school together
Yep.
that we would go to the fundraiser, and it was buku money being thrown out. But
Yep.
that wasn't by accident. That's by design. That's by input. That's years of building till you get to that pinnacle where the money's just flowing in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because it was ran like a business.
Yes.
It was thought through fully, and that's where I would like to get to that point with a school. And then starting now at my age would be great because I'm going
Yeah.
to be there long term,
Oh
and I
yeah.
have the drive to do it. That shit is not easy.
And you're built from Denver ground up. You know, from how you started to where you're at right now. I mean, definitely you started from Chicago, but like you've been in Denver public schools now for what? 6 years? 5 years? 6 years?
This is my seventh school year.
7th year? So like that's ground up, you know, and you've made your way up, man of color, making his way up, balling. As we are running to the 108th minute mark, I wanted to talk about Monday Night Football. Where were you at? How did you see that? And what are your thoughts about from a parent lens, from a father lens about what happened?
Well, I was watching it here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we watch a lot of football. We watch a lot. My wife and I watch a lot of sports, and we actually were talking about this. I was like, it's terrible to watch, right? It's terrible to see. I think it's a blessing that his mother was actually at the game. I can't imagine how she would feel being in my position. Like she's on her couch, chilling, regular day. Probably had a normal ass day. You're chilling. You're like, oh, my baby's about to play on TV. This is a big deal. He probably talked to her about the game and the significance of the game. You know what I mean? Like this is, if her son's in the NFL, like this is, she's been going to games forever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's a football fan too, right? So this is just like another day at the park, right? Another day at the ballpark, and you know you understand like there's some level of like injury concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like you expect like ACL, like all right, it sucks, but you know you kind of expect that there's going to be ACL tears, there's going to be bad physical injuries like that occur all the time. And as a parent, I would say she probably would be desensitized over time of like things like that, broken arms, you know what I mean? Like if you get to that, you've been playing so long, you're bound to have something like that happen to you.
True.
But to know that like your son is on a football field getting CPR for like 9 minutes or whatever crazy amount number, or however long it was, and thinking about like they had to rip through the padding and try to get to this dude's heart. I mean, if they're doing that CPR, that means his heart was stopped.
Right.
The man died. Like, he was not breathing. I can't imagine how she felt. Like, helpless. Because you can't just run onto the field. They're not going to let you do that. Whether you're a parent, like, you got to be like, I don't even think they let Tom Brady's mama run onto the field like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so you're just helpless. You don't know what to do. You don't know, like, is he okay? Is it just like, you probably just think it's like a regular injury and he just can't move or he's winded. And then, like, CPR, and then they had to, I think they had to use the
defibrillator.
Defibrillator in the middle of a field, like, in front of like 50,000. Like, that's like showing you, like, yo, there was no time to spare. Like, we have to act right now. So I can't even imagine, I can't even fathom how she was feeling in that moment. But I am happy that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was able to go to the hospital and, like, she's able to be there within proximity. Because this was an away game because they were playing at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Right? He plays for Buffalo. So there could have been a different scenario where she's in maybe Buffalo or wherever he lives, and maybe she lives close by, and she's watching this shit on the TV.
Right.
Like that, now you really feel helpless because then think about everything that comes in after that. Like, now you gotta, like, sit on it and think about it, and then you gotta try to book a flight, and then you know how the flight shit's going right now. I mean, this kid is, you know, he's in the NFL, but he's not big balling. He was a 6th-round draft pick last year, so he's not like he's making millions of dollars, buku money.
What, 300K?
300 maybe. You know what I'm saying? 300K. That's good money. Obviously, that's good, but that's not like forever. It's not life changing. That's 1 year. That's a 1 year salary. That's not guaranteed to roll over because you weren't a top pick. So imagine if she was like in Buffalo or wherever they're from, and having to make that flight over there, and then having to, like, get there and, like, all these things have already happened, and you're, like, kind of just stuck, not knowing what to do. Like, that has to be probably one of the worst feelings that you will have as a parent. I'm assuming is feeling helpless.
Yeah.
Because even though it's not your fault, you probably feel at fault.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to feel that burden because that's your seed. And I can't imagine how she's feeling. I hope she's doing well. I mean, I hope she has her own support group, or like of people around her who are having her back, because that's tough. I mean, I think he's still in critical condition.
Still in critical. Yeah.
I don't think he's waking up yet. I don't think they.
No. I'll go into it, but keep talking.
Yeah, but like that is just like that's what I was thinking about. It's like what are the odds that she was at this away game?
Right.
Like, what were the odds of that she was in Ohio at this away game instead of maybe just watching it on TV like most people do for most of the away games of their children. You don't really see parents travel like that unless their kids are balling. So like that was just kind of like, I don't know, it was really sad, man. It was, and then he's young. I mean,
he's super 24. Young. That's the part that got me.
That's tough. Like, he's 24 years old, and you know his career. I mean, and then like I was watching Get Up this morning, and like Dominique Fox was just speaking on like, he's like, he like made this like claim like, don't take this as tasteless. He's like, what I'm thinking about is like, this young man's life trajectory has just totally changed. Like, even if he recovers, he's probably never going to play football again.
No.
He has not played long enough to get like, I think it's 5 years before you get a pension in the NFL. I met some dude, he played in the NFL. I think he played 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think he told me it's 4 or 5 years you have to make it through in order to get like the benefits of an NFL player. He's not gonna get that. You know, he's a 6th-round pick, so he's not making like life-changing money. And it's like, so thinking about like the after effects.
Right.
So yeah, he gets healthy and he comes back, right? But like now what is his life gonna look like?
Right.
He just went from the pinnacle, what he worked his whole life for, of his first 24 years. And now it's basically taken away. And like the NFL they don't have to do anything. They don't have to give him anything.
Right.
They don't have to do anything, and that part is like even more terrible if he's able to make a full recovery, because you think about like the psychological damage that's going to produce.
Let's hope the NFL does do something, like the NBA did for. Remember that one draft pick from Baylor, and he was going through the offseason NBA combine workouts, and they figured out that he had some type of heart defect,
Yes.
and then they did like the whole draft ceremony, and he was like drafted, like he was drafted, but he wasn't in the draft, but the
Yeah.
NBA actually like hooked him up with certain perks just to keep him in the
NBA is
family.
also a little bit more progressive.
NBA is way more progressive.
Yeah, they're way more progressive.
The owners are more progressive. It trickles down. It's the way they're way more like NFL is kind of like good old boys, and then you have the NBA who's way more left leaning than the NFL. My whole take about this is that. Well, first let me go on this first. That helpless feeling about family members when you're away. When I was in Denver, my second year, third year, my dad, he had a heart attack, and I was out in Denver, and I had to go to San Diego. And that time from Denver to San Diego was, I would say that was like the top moment, worst moment of my life. Because you're right, you're helpless, you can't do anything about it. You got to book flights, you got to figure out like, I had places to stay. San Diego, I always got places to stay. But it was just that feeling of, man, what am I going to go see? Like, am I going to have to do some preparations? You're thinking the worst, like you're just crying, you're bawling your eyes out, you're just emotional and everything. So like, I'm with you on that. I'm so glad that she was in the building to be there, so then she doesn't have to go through that worry, because that whole worrying thing, it'll shave years off of your life, man. It's crazy stress. You just hopelessness, very, very hopelessness. Now, I was giving little White Eyes a bath, and wasn't even thinking about the game, and I was gonna go in there and watch the game with him, because normally Monday Night Football I turn it on, and then like we watch it until he falls asleep. It's a kind of a little tradition on Monday nights that we do, and I go to turn on the game, and I was like, man, what's going on? And Twitter's undefeated. That Twitter will show you everything. This is like, I would say 25 minutes after the situation happened, after the incident. And I saw the incident, and people were spreading it left and right. And that's another thing. We'll get into that too, about people on social media spreading that stuff, because like it's the gift and the curse, like I always say about social media, the gift and the curse. But so I see what happened, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious, this is crazy. And just to see the players, like, you can tell that football's a brotherhood, and you can tell like why, like I had no problem crying in front of the students that we coach, the student athletes that we coach, because the bond is crazy. You're in such a violent game, and the person next to you needs to do their job for you to be successful. And in that forms like a very strong brotherhood. I mean, I've never been into a locker room before. I played on some flag football teams in my early 20s that, like, we were, pretty damn good. And, like, I got friends that, are lifetime friends to this day. We still talk about those days. There's just playing flag football. I couldn't imagine playing tackle football, the most violent game on this earth, maybe besides rugby, that is so uniting and so family-oriented. So when you see one of your brothers, even if he's only been on the team for like 1 year, but he's been to practice, OTAs, conditioning, all this stuff, film room, you spent more time with him than your family, and you watch that happen, and especially if you've never seen anything like that before. Not a lot of people have like seen like any catastrophic event happen like that. First of all, that's a traumatic event that caused trauma to everybody in the stadium, the fans, concessions, the TV crew, Susie Kohlberg, and like the ESPN, Adam Schefter, who had to like.
They were shook.
Oh man, it just reverberated. Like everybody felt it. It was a tidal wave of emotions that just everybody can feel it. I pray for that young man. I hope he survives this. 9 minutes of CPR is unheard of. And especially, I hope they were able to find oxygen to his brain so then afterwards he can have something after this event, you know,
Correct.
so this doesn't define his life. I pray for that. I pray for his whole family because I couldn't imagine like how they're feeling because, like you said earlier, they've been to so many games since Pee Wee Pop Warner. You know, like this is routine. You know, like this is nothing to them. You know, but they're just seeing it on the highest level and probably reaping the financial benefits of it because you know usually these football players take care of their family. Everybody talks about family first, family first. They take care of their family. I just hope that he comes out of this and that we have a happy ending to this because this turned a lot of people off from like football. You know what I mean? Like it makes you think twice about like, wow, I just watched a man like basically die on the field today. You know, like and I wonder if that's going to happen to my son. You know, I wonder if this could be my son. You know, next. You know, even the percentages are very small, but I would rather something
Don't
else.
care.
I don't care exactly. That's my
I don't
kid.
care.
That's my
With that,
kid.
yeah.
You know, like I'm here to protect you. I am supposed to die first. You see, I'm living. I'm gonna watch you live my life until I'm dead. You're not supposed to die before me. That's not supposed to happen. You're my legacy. This is not supposed to happen. So I hope he comes out of this, man, because like that right there, like I was sitting there holding my son, literally like holding him so tight. And like he probably couldn't fall asleep because I was holding him so tight, you know. And I was just like, dang, you know, like. And you start getting emotional. You start looking at him and stuff. And I was like, man, like, I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, nah. I hope he does. I hope he pulls through, and I hope he's able to rebound because that's tough, man. I just can't imagine. Can't imagine how that feels. Like you said, you're supposed to. Your kids are supposed to see. Your kids are supposed to bury you.
Uh huh.
You know, your kids are supposed to bury you, and you know, like when it's the opposite way, no one's happy.
No one's happy. No. Like, man, if, like, 10 years from now, man, if I end up kicking the bucket for some odd reason, you know, hey, you know, at least I had 10 strong years with this little young boy that I can already implement on him. And, like, I'm cool with that. But I just couldn't imagine that being reversed, though, man. That shit is insane, dude. That shit is insane. Any... Oh, wait. Before we get into final words, Skip Bayless. You see his tweet?
Yeah, I think people misread it.
You think it was a misread?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think it was a misread. I think it was more of like,
I think it was just.
why are you talking about this right now? And this
I
dude
think
is.
it was too objective for the moment. I think that's what it was.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
It was just it was too objective. Like no one was really, no one want. His point was valid, but it was not the right timing for it.
Right.
No one wants to care about like when is this game gonna get remade.
Right.
Did he have a point? Yes, he has a point. Why? Because the season ends next week. This game is on the standings. They're a game apart from one another. There's a lot of playoff implication. I get all that. That is still like say what you want to say, but that's his job. I mean, he's doing his job. Was it the right moment? No. Do I think he's? I don't know. I don't know the motherfucker, so I don't care anything about this dude. Like he's just a TV personality. I read his tweet. I didn't. Like I said, it was just bad timing. Bad timing. But if you read the whole thing, he says like this dude means more than the game. But I'm just bringing this up as like I wonder how this is going to play out.
Right.
Because this man's life means more to this game. But in the NFL, historically, it's always been business as usual.
5
right?
minutes.
Like that's been the motto of just like other people have passed away. Like they were talking about it this morning. Other folks who've passed away, like in the locker room, or shit like after a game, and the next week there's a game again. So like that's the point he was making. timing was just off. I think
Timing,
the timing was off. I'm not gonna say I don't know.
timing was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know
Timing
the
was
man.
terrible.
I don't know the man. I just saw the tweets like, "Oh, he needs to be canceled," and well, I don't know the person to pass judgment. I don't know this guy. I know him on TV. I never said I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him other than I've seen him on TV. I have a Jordan Tribune from when we won the championship hanging in my daughter's room, and Skip Bayless wrote the column for it when he used to work for in Chicago. That's all I know. I'm not passing judgment on people I don't know. I just think his timing was off. Don't think he said anything bad. Thought the timing was terrible. He talked about it this morning. I didn't get to watch it or listen to it.
Right.
But I know he started the show by himself. I don't know if that was because like he wanted to like just be out there and just have to speak on his remarks by himself,
Right.
and not get Shannon Sharp involved in it. But he did start the show by himself today, and it was like talking directly to the camera about clarifying everything he was saying. So that might be worth a good
I think
listen.
just from him, he's built up that negative equity like over the years
I can
on
see
how
that.
he's, you know,
Yeah,
it displayed himself on television as like the bad guy. You know, the way he goes in on LeBron, you know, and then the one tweet that killed everybody was the one where he's talking about his son. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about like a high school athlete at that point, like you know, like what do you know, like so, and then like the name calling, you know, calling, you know, Russell Westbrook, you know, and like that kind of stuff, you know, like yeah, he's playing terrible. Last season he was playing awful, you know, like and he definitely deserved to be criticized for his play, but at the same time, you know, to name call like that, it's just you're better than that. You know, we're not over here like in middle school anymore. You know, like, you're better than that. So I just think that
LeBrick.
Yeah, with LeBrick and then also too a couple weeks ago that whole thing with him and Shannon. You know, that back and forth that they had. I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah, when he was talking about like him and Brady.
Yeah, and how he made it personal. You know that like, dude, Shannon Sharp is like the top 3 tight ends. I would say like it would be Gonzalez,
Gronk.
and Antonio Gates, Gronk, him. You know what I mean? I just say Gronk before Antonio Gates. So I would say like Gronk, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Kelsey, and then like you have guys coming up like Kelsey, exactly. So, he's a Hall of Famer. He has a right to talk about that, but the disrespect is crazy. I just think that he needs to get his not politically correctness, it's more sensitivity. Like that's your boy Shannon. You know what I mean? Like he rides out for you. You know, he wanted to do the show with you. You know, like you don't disrespect the people. Like if you're gonna have a disagreement on this platform, man, I'm not gonna ever see anything personal to rile you up or even misstep and mistake, because I know at the end of the day it's an argument. We're going to disagree on it. You know, you might be totally wrong, but at the same time, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make it personal. You know, and that's
he takes shit to the. Sometimes he takes shit personal, but like that's just like some little old white man shit. You gotta remember, that's white. Like that's just. You know, sometimes old white men do shit like that, man, and that's because that's when you know you won. So when you get to that point, then I know I won, bro.
That's true.
I know I won. So sit your ass down over there, man.
Yeah,
Skip Bayless, be better.
That's true. Yeah, Skip Bayless,
just be better.
Be better.
I need something to watch. They already changed First Things First to like 3:00 in the afternoon for some fun.
Yeah, that I don't know about that new time. I like it earlier in the morning.
I hate that Cannon show, whatever his name. That show sucks.
I never watch it. I never. Is that guy the New York guy, right?
It ruins my morning because now I have to watch Get Up, and I don't love Get Up.
It's just the same. The cast of characters they have on Get Up. It's just and also too the thing like First Take. It's I don't know.
I like Colin Howard. What's his name? The Herd.
Colin, the Herd of Colin Cowherd. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Colin Cowherd since back in San Diego.
He's legit. I love.
Yeah.
And he has a 3-hour show, and I can watch
Right.
the whole 3 hours.
I listen to his podcast all the time because I'm not able to catch all 3 hours, so I always listen to the podcast. I like his insight, and then also too, like he's accountable for like like where he's wrong and like and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I like that. We're Colin was right. We're Colin's wrong. He's been doing that shit for years.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It's great.
Especially when he was on ESPN. I used to listen to him a lot too when he was on ESPN. I've always looked, and my dad's a really big fan of Colin Cowherd too. And I was like, yeah, listen to Colin, yeah. So, any last words for our episode 2 of the
Oh yeah.
Modern Fathers?
I gotta wake my ass up early. I gotta be up at like 5:30 to get ready for work.
There you go.
So my last words is what I always end with. Wash your ass. Just wash your ass, man. Some of y'all don't wash your ass enough. Wash your motherfucking ass.
Especially with a washcloth. Don't use your hand. I mean, a lot of these motherfuckers out here, use a washcloth, use a loofah, like, actually get in there, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're working out, if you're, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You can even sit on your ass, just use the cloth, use something, don't use your hand and soap, and don't use that nasty body wash too, like Old Spice and stuff. My last words of the day is, fathers, keep grinding, have a great start to the new year. Be awesome. Thoughts and prayers for what happened on Monday night. And yeah, man, another good ass podcast,
Another one.
Another one,
All right, y'all take care. Peace. Wash that ass.
Wash that ass.